One day, I sat down at my laptop, and on my home feed was this video, and the title was, "If you run out of things to say, play this simple game." So I watched this video, and about a week later, I had a date scheduled. I was pretty keen because this girl was really beautiful, right? I was super hype, but when I got there, bro, I was struggling. I was so awkward. And I started to try and play this little mental game that I'd watched in this YouTube video. But I couldn't really remember what the game was, and every time I tried to, I got really nervous. I was like, what am I doing? I was starting to overthink. I freaked out a little bit, and I held it in, but internally I wasn't feeling good, and I spoke like a fucking moron. I embarrassed myself. I threw this opportunity down the drain, bro. This girl, I thought she was so good looking at the time. I had a huge crush on her. And because I'd watched this stupid video, it's so misleading, that doesn't help you, I'd gone out and I'd fucked myself up. I want to teach you how to actually avoid awkward silences, how to actually have good conversations, and how to actually have success hanging out with friends and talking to people. Because I wish that I had somebody like me who actually knew what they were talking about, instead of just chasing views of everybody in the world, so that I could actually make friends for myself. I didn't want to just sit around and watch YouTube videos that didn't help me. I wanted to get out there in the real life and be a valued person. I wanted to be social. So in case you don't believe that I've made good friends, la-di-la, I'm gonna put some photos. Click the subscribe button. I've got way more videos that you can easily get a lot of value in. Now I'm gonna do a quick product pitch, so skip ahead if you're not interested. But I remember when I didn't have any friends to hang out with, I spent loads of time trying to organize things, and it took so long for me to actually make any friends. And then I finally did it. I finally got over it. And then I had to move countries. I had to move to Australia and do it all over again. And that's when I really struggled, because that's when I encountered more problems, like people being mean to me, people making up rumors about me, people treating me like shit, me getting insecure. My confidence went down the drain, and I wish that there was somebody who made a course on the fastest way, like a concise amount of information on how to make good friends as a teenager. There's nobody doing this, and it's annoying. Why the fuck is nobody doing this? So I was like, I'm gonna be the man then, because I've gone out, I've had amazing social experiences, and I know what I'm talking about, and I want you to have success. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. The price is cheap as shit for lifetime access. Just take a look. If you're on the fence, just take a look at the link in the description. I remember this one time, basically I'd called my friend and I was like, hey, when are you coming? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm already here. Poor description, but basically I woke up and we're at this kind of by the pier area where there's a bunch of shops. They were eating pizza, they just gone to the gym. And I was having a good chat with them, and I remember we walked over to this like little bench by the water. So two of my friends and me. And I just went silent for a bit. I didn't plan to do this, but I had nothing on my mind. And I zoned out and I was staring at the water. And they did the same for a bit. And it was at that moment I realized something. Like, for the longest time, if the silence happened, if we weren't speaking, I would freak out. It would be like, whoa, what's happening? Blah, blah, blah. Like in my mind, it would go crazy. That's how I fumbled that date that I told you about at the start of the video, because I was panicking about silence. But this night, I'd accidentally gone silent, and I realized that these two didn't care. They didn't care at all. And then I said something, and we started having a great chat, talking about something. I was having a good time, and then we went silent again. And this time, it didn't bother me, because I'd been silent. I was comfortable enough around them as people. I knew them as really good friends, that when they weren't saying anything, I was okay with that, because I knew they still liked me. And so when I was thinking about this later that night, I realized that maybe the reason that I'd been struggling so much with getting like panicked around people was because I thought that being silent was a problem. When you finally accept that being silent does not matter, I can promise you that you will start to have better conversations. Because when you're okay with going silent, that means you don't panic and then you actually start having a good conversation again. Of course, it's better to talk, be able to talk for an hour straight. But that's not you, clearly. And it's not me either, but I've still had great social success. So I hope that inspires you that next time the conversation goes to an awkward silence, you're fine with it. You just stare off in the distance. Social people don't give a fuck when there's silence. Nobody cares, bro. I remember this one day, by the way. So this is a trick that once you understand this mindset, the silence thing, that's the biggest like mindset blocker of social anxiety. Like that's why you have it. But after you start to realize that, there's an actual practical tip that you can do today. And to explain that to you, I'm going to tell you this story. So a bunch of my friends, we all went out, like 4 or 5 of us. Maybe I'll put a photo if I remember that, it's at this point in the video. But we all went out on a boat day and we were having a great time. I was laughing with them. They're my really close friends all day long. And at the end of the day, we went out and I was going to meet up with this girl. And my friend dropped me. He said bye to me. And I was with this girl and it felt like the opposite of the first story where I went to this date and fumbled completely. And I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't say on a YouTube video, but it went really well. And I realized that because I'd been with my friends all day, I'd become so much more confident in myself. I'd warmed up verbally and it was like all the words flowed. I was so confident in myself after spending this time with people who I knew liked me all day. The best tip I can give you before you go to a big social event, the fastest change that you can do is, well, training helps a lot because you'll be way more energy, exercise makes you feel better. But even more important than that, meet up with somebody and chat to them for a few hours, because for me, at least personally, the first hour of like meeting up and socializing is always the hardest. It's always the hardest. It's always hard if you turn up to a party and you have to go force yourself in these conversations when you're not in the mood yet. And so when I just started meeting up for people, I started doing this thing where if I was going to a party, I'd say, yeah, bro, 1, 2, 3 hours before, let's go to the gym. Let's train together. Let's grab some food before we go out to the party. And every time I did that, it went so much better for me. Click the subscribe button. I have way more value, but I want to say I'm really proud of you if you've watched all the way to the end of the video. Most people don't have an attention span to watch an unedited video like this that actually is going to improve your life. Now, I want to tell you about this product, man, because I believe that it will genuinely change your life. Because this is all just like vague info. I'm just trying to get people's attention, slowly inspire them to make a change. But if you're already this interested in making good friends, I've spent 4 years doing everything in my power to make better friends. It was the main thing on my mind. And I've clearly gotten good success. I know a lot of things that most people would never figure out in a lifetime. But since I've been trying at this goal for so long, I've learned the easiest way to get there. I could have gone there in 2-3 months, maybe a month, if I knew what I know now back then. When I was a kid, bro, I would have done anything for a course like this. I still would do a lot for a course like this, even though I don't struggle with it. That's why I made this course. It's really cheap. You get lifetime access. Click the link in the description. Just look, bro. Because what if it changes your life forever? If it doesn't work, you lose a tiny bit of money that you can make back in a few hours. If it works, you'll be a different man till the day you die. Have a good day, bro.